is no microwave breakfast for me. He's got the iron out, and that is our cooking implement. And he's making me a bacon and cheese and egg sandwich. Just to let you know the technology we're doing this morning.
You know, it looks like we may be all going back to the more simplest way of doing things.
You've given me one more thing to check in a hotel room before I start using it. Cheese on an iron.
That's great. Love it.
Hey, we have parchment paper and foil and all those lovely things. And I see Jim is in his motorhome in a beautiful location.
I am indeed.
Are you guys together?
Man,
I am amazed outside of Taos. And I mean to tell you, it is gorgeous here. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I always want to go.
Uh-oh. That was the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
So Cheryl, where are you?
We're in Las Vegas still. A couple more nights in Las Vegas. What day is it? Today's Tuesday. We have Tuesday and Wednesday night in Las Vegas, and then we start the trip home. We don't have a very nice view this time from our room. All we can see is the rooftop of the thing below us. That's Fremont Street Experience, but we're basically looking at, roofs.
Roofs, all right.
Look like potential patios.
Yes, there you go. Could be all kinds of things, but patios.
Cheryl, do you have fires in Alberta where you're going?
No.
Well, our son was quite concerned about us because the range road to one mile east of us and about 2 miles south of us, the whole area was evacuated last week.
They were on alert.
Oh, anyways, Bill says they were on alert. But where we used to live in Hinton, which is close to the Jasper National Park, they have evacuated a couple of towns, and we have more fires burning in Alberta earlier in the year. It's a mess. It really is.
All right.
Our daughter starts her job on the 15th.
Damn it, Judy. You know better.
I asked the question.
Has to be tech related.
It was.
Anybody brought any tech stories to today's meeting? I did pass out a document of possible topics. I have a couple of news things in there I thought were entertaining at least. But I would, as always, I'd be interested in hearing about your tech experiences and anything you'd like to contribute or ask questions about, I'd like to help with. So who's out there showing up to this meeting going, why is it doing this?
Yeah, Scott, why is it doing that?
Did you discover your computer was muted?
I'm ashamed to tell you. Finally remembered that there was a sound button on the very top of the rows, and yeah, it was all the way down. Okay. I'm going backwards on computer skills, not forward.
I think you have a few of us that are feeling that way.
Yeah, very common feeling, Sandy. Very common feeling.
I'm so jealous, Taos. Wow.
Especially when we have technologies like ChatGPT giving out answers quicker and sometimes accurate than we can give out ourselves. Taking over some of my jobs, making it easier for me to write a program because I can ask it for the fundamentals and it'll just code it out for you. Maybe we are getting farther away from understanding this stuff, not closer as we get older.
It's kind of like we were talking earlier about the airlines doing away with travel agents. So there goes your job.
Right, yeah. There's going to be the ChatGPT travel agents without a doubt.
Or people.
And there was that article recently that was doing a study on bedside manner. And ChatGPT was used to address customer clients. patients. I'm sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. I obviously grew up in the United States. I think of them as customers. It's not patients. But the bedside manner was so much more appropriate from ChatGPT than it was the practitioners of medicine. And fundamentally, it makes sense because ChatGPT has the opportunity to read all the literature on the best ways to care for a patient. So it can know the verbiage, the words to say that would be the most effective to get a patient to reveal information that helps in a diagnosis. At the same time, ChatGPT has proven to be very inaccurate at times. And so in an area where you'd want the expertise of a specialist, ChatGPT is the specialist in communication, but not necessarily in actual information. It seems like we're gonna see the doctor model maybe change so that they have this buffer in front of them that they would be like plugging their information into, and the buffer is what would interface with us. So that's
wild.
Yeah, I just see it already. Maybe even a pre-appointment that you do online, and you're being asked to reveal characteristics to help the diagnosis. And the way that you're being asked the questions are being formatted by ChatGPT because it knows the best way to ask to get the best information. And a doctor doesn't, human, you can hear me rattle on at times in this meeting. I don't necessarily know the best way to convey information or get people to share information, but ChatGPT has the opportunity to study every manual on the subject. So it's fascinating.
Instantaneously.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
Yeah. There's a lot of credence to the accuracy. The accuracy seems to be the issue that's gonna crop up, and Microsoft's model of this stuff is ChatGPT is your buffer right now. As you ask questions to Bing, you ask them to ChatGPT, it asks Bing the questions it thinks would be the most relevant way to form your search, gets the responses from Bing, and then it decides whether they're appropriate to give you as an answer. Okay, TJ, have you had a chance to play with any of the ChatGPT stuff?
Numerous times.
Yeah? What's your experience been like?
For marketing purposes, especially for my third-party recruiting agency, it has been able to lay a foundation with what I want to do for marketing purposes for the trucking companies that we represent.
Okay.
And putting together job postings on job boards and so forth, or in regards to sending out mass mailers.
So what's an example? TJ, I bet you guys online can't hear because TJ's off in the side of the room here.
I'll speak louder.
Yeah, you have to really enunciate because the microphone is right here on the table. But what he's referring to using ChatGPT a number of times to help with the kind of listings and posting of information to try and attract employment. Yeah.
And utilizing it not as the solution, but as the foundation.
Yeah, kind of like the template to start from.
Correct.
This is really where we see this in the future. Well, the 5-minute future, the 5 minutes from now is templates for everything. Yeah. Templates for news articles, templates for customer support, scripts, like when you're asking people questions, correct, things of that nature.
Right. I don't see AI and ChatGPT and GPT-4 and so forth. If you remember, gosh, and I'm going to date myself. So, way back when the Radio Shack TRS-80 first came out, and it was basic.
My first computer.
And people had to write their own programs.
That's right. I was one of those people.
That's where we are today versus applications and programs. So my feeling is, in regards to the success of AI and ChatGPT and GPT-4 and other solutions, will be that there has to be solutions for vertical markets for people to very easily purchase or to acquire or to download, so that it's just a drop-in for them. And they utilize it as a template and as a solution, as a SaaS solution.
I agree with you. I think we're closer. You make it the way you phrase that. I get the impression that you think it's a little farther off than I do. I think that we're very close to that right now. In the jobs that I do, I can imagine dropping the API into the documentation for an organization and then using that for like employee orientation information. So you can put somebody in a position very quickly, and you've got this chat bot that they can go to if they're looking for quick questions on where you find resources in the organization, how the healthcare plan works in this organization, things of that nature. I think that's just 5 minutes away. I think those are the kinds of apps that are being developed right in this moment. So you can get an API from them, and you can just point it at all your internal stuff, and all of a sudden you have this expertly read entity out there to help people, so that you don't have to have an expert on site that knows all those. Maybe ChatGPT will be like the new age HR director for an organization.
And listen to all the
keep businesses out of court.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, well, that is not what ChatGPT is doing. If anything, it keeps getting itself in court.
And also HR directors do listen to all the complaining, believe me.
Yeah, you know.
Believe me, I know.
Well, right now it's just a tool, and it's pretty unique and intelligent, but it's like every other tool we have in our culture. It's all about how it gets used. And it's not even on my list of got me talking, but I do ramble and digress all the time. So I am here to talk about anything. We are not locked into my list of topics. I did put 2 topics on this list, though, that I thought was interesting. One is about origami-inspired robots. I don't know if you guys got to look at this yet, but UCLA, their School of Engineering, has published their work on origami-inspired robots. These are robots that are made out of materials that are folded. This is, yeah, I don't think this is, well, maybe that is a picture of one. The idea being that they can have intelligent, application-driven robots that can flatten and take up less space. They can be shipped out to an area. They can get into a smaller area and become bigger. And they've done this with specific materials in the past. They've built these very basic process robots that would have to have silicon added to them later. When I say that, I mean the chips and the internals and the computing devices had to be added to it. So it was a 2-step process in using these origami robots, where one step would be building it into its shape, whatever function it was going to derive from that shape. And then the other was to apply the computers to it in the form of smaller chips that would move freely. What they've done, and they've done that for years. This has been a thing that's been going on specifically in this research. But in general, this whole idea of folding robots has been going on for years now. Here's another picture of something. They built a robot that folds into the equivalent of a Venus flytrap, and it actually has no real computing in it. It's got sensors in its mouth that tell it to close when it's touched. And the closing mechanism and the sensors are all built out of this new material, which is what this article is based on, where they're bringing electromagnetic materials into the material that's folded, so they can do simple mechanical and computational activities with the material that they've used to fold these items with. So this is one more step closer to this kind of organic interlacing of a technology with the materials around us. I guess that's about all I have to say about it. It's amazing technology to look at, though, and you can see where we might be going in the future. But this is the University of
Yep.
California and their robot team that has done this, come up with these subtitle conductive materials. Have you guys heard of any of this kind of stuff? This, No, I had heard of folding robots in a passing a few years ago and never paid any real attention to it. And so this is the first time since then I've heard anything about it. And they, in the article, they talk about how they've been working with these robots as what I described as kind of a two-step process. You unfold it and then you add the computers to it. And the whole goal of what they've got here is that the computer is a flexible material that can be programmed. I've always had this fantasy that we're going to find out that some of our most precious natural resources are intended to work together and have a sentience. I felt like oil and gold and nanites have a future in our world where we will have this programmed intelligence to our items in the real world. So you'd have this circular recycling and building so that you could reproduce items, and it would happen at a nanite level. So you'd have this material that you'd buy in bulk, and you could program it to represent whatever it is you need, a pair of sunglasses, a chair that you sit on. The idea being that when you're done with it, you no longer need it. You can deconstruct that into a raw material that can be used to build other items into the future. So we would have the circular construction of items, of commodities that weren't being used up and thrown away, but we're actually just recycling back into other commodities. I'm not saying we're real close to this, but I love seeing stuff like this because it makes me think in that direction more. The 3D printing, the recapturing of 3D printing materials so that you can regurgitate more 3D printing, and things like this, building materials that have conductive and intelligent properties so that you're actually building with those things. There's 3D printers right now on the market that you can load with your electronic components on rails of like tape. So you can get reels of tape of electronics, and when you printing and manufacturing the intelligent device, that computer that's inside or those sensors, they're added at the same time you're printing. So it's kind of moving in that direction where you've got the production of the article, the physical material, as well as the intellectual material merging at the same time of creation. I hope I'm not blowing anybody's minds.
Well, that's interesting, really interesting, Scott. This is not quite the same, but they, I don't know if it was 60 Minutes or something, had a section where they had these people who are actually in the process of taking the fins of the windmills and showing how they can reuse them, because they do get old and fall apart. So of course they go into stock. So these people were trying to figure out ways in which those could be repurposed, and they had a playground made of it, planting areas made with these fins. It all looked pretty good to me. And then they were taking the solar panels, these same people, and of course solar panels were out too. And so what are you going to do? Stockpile the, all the glass and stuff. What they have done, they have figured out how to do a smasher kind of, I don't know, thing where they can break that all up. And it seems to me that they were going to use it somehow for filler or reuse the glass. I'm not sure. But people are now really thinking about the waste that we're going to have. So imagine if you had a robot who had waste. Be nice to know you could go in and replace some of those parts and and
Yeah,
then have a way for it to disappear.
It really seems like it's a matter of planning beforehand so that you have a plan for it after.
Right. Anyway, that's all I know. Not much.
Well, origami inspired robots that can fold flat packs. Being able to put robots in flat packs, maybe for space.
Oh, I just want one that'll clean my house. Maybe do the lawn and the windows. I would be really happy.
Well, you know they have each one of those robots. You own some of those, actually.
I own one kind, the floor kind, that doesn't mop.
That's all
It
it
will not
does.
mop.
We did a while back look at a robot that does windows.
Yeah,
It suctions itself on the window and it goes across the window.
But then you
I
have
think
to
it's
move-
marvelous.
You have to definitely get it off of your frames, I would think. You'd have to get it over to the next one. But one of the areas that they were looking at using it was in skyscrapers so that it can.
Oh, yeah.
So there must be a way to move it.
Oh, I'm sure.
You'd think there would be.
I was just thinking my little windows, it would be more a hassle to move it.
Maybe for your windows, they need a product that's like an auto squeegee. So you just stick it on the outside of the window and it just
Oh.
squeegees the window and once
It
a day.
just stays there.
Yeah, right. You gotta refill like in your car, you got to refill the squeegee. We've
Yeah,
got
that would be
the
cool to
room
have
in
that
our
kind of
house,
system.
and my wife always is perplexed about whether it's really worth it or not. And I'm like, I don't know whether it's worth it or not, but I, as a tech person, would much rather do maintenance on a robot than do vacuuming. So
You
don't
just
wanna put
reframed all that, didn't you? This is not a
It's like,
vacuum,
oh,
it is a
motor's not
robot.
bad. Get on Amazon, buy another motor, put new brushes on it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Roomba though.
Oh, yeah.
So I also brought one other article, and if we get to it now, you guys are going to have to fill up this space with time, which I thought was interesting. This came out right after our meeting last week, and I'm sure you're all aware of the new porn law in Utah. It's been on the news. Have you guys been following this, where they're going to insist they're blocking porn sites? The government has passed a law that's going to require sites like Pornhub or Xhamster to block its ability until they can age verify. And what was interesting that I didn't realize, but I should have, because I've been watching as my state does it, and they have a Utah ID system that includes like fingerprints and pictures, and it's a whole system, and that is going to be incorporated into these age verification systems. So they're going to do facial recognition. This is a porn site will have to do facial recognition, take a picture of whoever's trying to visit the site, and compare it to a state ID to determine whether they're old enough to open up the website.
So does that mean children, everybody gets,
Everybody gets
in the states required to be fingerprinted and face recognition?
That's interesting. I wonder, I mean, what it would require if you wanted to watch porn was for that. Like, could you imagine somebody that hasn't yet gone into this system, with somebody of age that wants to pleasure himself in front of a screen, would have to go get set up on this system so that they could verify themselves correctly. They have another system that's like a paper ID system where they're encouraging people to send copies of identification, like scan your passport or something and send it to them to verify their age. It's just, it's come up as a real mess, but it's also an area, I mean, this is an article from Vice, and they explore all these different areas of how this kind of thing could affect business. Fortunately, it's Utah, so it's kind of, well, it's kind of its own little experiment in itself to see what will happen in self-government and well, you know, religion and morality and how that's going to play into politics. If it was a state like California, all of a sudden we would all be doing it.
They actually have people watching porn in Utah?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the funniest statistics that comes out annually is Pornhub releases maps, heat maps
Oh, really?
of what categories are of interest in which states and which countries. So you can look at their yearly dump of like, what does Ireland like to look up? What the majority of people in British Columbia like to look up, or Alaska, what's their favorite choice of porn from Pornhub? This information is out there, yeah. And Utah does look at porn. But the interesting thing about following any porn tech related topic is that you have to recognize that porn always drives technology. It has since the very beginning. It's the reason that it's one of the big reasons we have internet. We have companies like Cisco, is because people had to be able to pass faster and faster images back and forth on the internet. So it's one of those driving forces for virtual VR technology, for video. We saw it in the video industry when what drove VHS over beta. If you guys remember that debate of what technology you should buy, VHS won because they didn't have to pay royalties to Sony to use it. Oh, I just denied Linda, and it's on tape. She's gonna hate me. or it was Jim. Okay, it was Jim coming in under Linda's account. I wonder if he's gonna be able to get back in. I hit the wrong button. I was talking and hitting buttons at the same time. I'm sorry, Jim.
Jim who?
Cunningham, but he was coming
in.
No, I think it says here he left, and Linda Cunningham was not allowed to join this meeting because I hit the wrong button. Yes, hire me to help you with your computer needs. That's pretty good. Jim will be back, I'm sure. Pair, admit. Jim, are you with us? Sorry about that.
Is Chester really there?
Chester, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. My camera doesn't work, so you can't see me, but I'm listening.
Oh, all right, excellent. Your desktop wasn't projecting either, so that's what brought up the question.
Yeah, my camera doesn't work.
Well,
So
anyway,
Scott, where's
go ahead.
I'm not seeing you on the screen. I have your logo.
Oh, what you want to do is you want to pin. You want to pin the.
From where to where?
Yeah, go to the ellipse in the middle of your screen and choose change
Oh,
layout.
I see. Oh, well, what I have in the middle of the screen is I do have a pin, a microphone, and then
Right, but
something
that's
else.
for the wrong screen. You want to pin my screen.
It's
You-
on top of your face thing. I mean, off on top of your logo.
So you want to change your layout to tiled, and then you'll be able to see every screen, and then pin the one where you see all of us.
Okay, now where do I find that change the tile thing? I'm not remembering.
The
my
It doesn't
ellipsis,
happen that way on a Mac.
the ellipsis at the bottom of the screen, the 3 dots.
Okay. All right, I got it. Layout, full screen, open picture.
So you want to do change layout and then change the tiled.
Oh,
And when
okay.
you get the tiled layout, you'll be able to see all our screens. You'll see all of us. And then you want to pick the one that you're actually on. I'm going to unpin you because I pin people periodically. So this is all of us in the meeting now, plus us. You can see us in the meet here. You can't see TJ, he's hiding from camera. But he's off to the side here.
Okay, so then I choose me, right?
No, you choose, right now you choose that collage of people on the screen with me. I'm here too.
Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tiles. The upper middle one has you. It has in the end.
The upper middle one has me and everyone else, because that's
Yes.
the one you want to. That's the one you want to pin.
Okay.
I have a question for you guys. Is Chester still without camera?
Yep, just said that.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I was out in the
Say
hall. So I missed it.
Say again?
And she was just asking about your camera again, Chester, because you have a slightly different appearance this morning.
Curvy. It's curvy.
I'm missing the cars.
That's right. We're
Start going.
classics up there. So we don't have to keep talking about porn, though it's a favorite topic. But I do want to, when porn and technology comes together, then it ends up being civil rights stuff. And this is just an amazing amount of control that's, and then consequently there's lawsuits out there. Those websites have shut down access in Utah. And what Utah is actually, this is my speculation, but I'm certain I'm right. This is going to educate every person that is 12 and older on how to use a VPN, because that's all that they can do is they can say you can't do it in our state. And so then you just get a VPN and you can do whatever you want. This is what the TikTok users are going to do too, is they're just going to get an application of TikTok with a built-in VPN. So they're not doing it in the United States, if it ever does get banned. Well, those are my topics. Porn and robots. Again.
Over and over.
Fascinating.
What about you guys? What's on your minds these days?
Let's see.
TJ, you got to tell
Ukraine.
Ukraine. You're still on Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
can't
them to win.
I can't think of a Ukraine tech topic, and that's the requirement for this meeting. It's got to be a tech topic.
No, it's amazing the technology that's been able to get all the information out.
Yeah.
When you think about it, look at how well informed we all are, and it's coming from phones mostly. People taking pictures with their phones and able to send them to, the different stations and all. And
that
that's
is
true. Go
very
ahead.
interesting topic. When you think about it, we typically think of like Vietnam being the first televised war. This is probably the first YouTube war, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems like we're not reliant on NBC, CBS to be over there in the trenches, because we're getting all our footage from people that are there in the war zone using modern technology to get it out.
Well, it's the first drone war. My God, the footage of some $200 drone dropping a grenade through an open hatch of a tank and wrecking a $25 million tank is just unreal. And I just saw a photo of the new drone brigades that Ukraine is putting together. They got like 23 drone brigades, and they had all their drones laid out in front of them. There's a couple hundred of them in there, big ones, carry big grenades or bombs. And then the shots of the drones, the kamikaze drones going down, chasing down a tank down the road and taking them out. It's just like we're watching a new style of warfare that's remote, but it's not artillery. It's really a different feel to the whole thing.
Unfortunately, I think it looks like the reality games that the kids have been playing for years.
The Hunger Games, is that what you're talking, or reality TV, or?
No, the war games, like I don't know what they're called, Mortal Kombat, first player shooter.
Oh, okay.
All those games, and you annihilate somebody with the push of a button, and this is real people, and this is really what's happening, and it's unsettling, very unsettling.
What it reminds me of, you see the drones just observing the trench warfare, and it reminds me of Duck Shoot or something off of the old Nintendo.
Right.
Guys back and forth inside the trenches, shooting at each other, throwing grenades. It's odd.
It seems so antiquated, just old.
You're talking about the style combat versus the drone style combat?
Oh, no, the drone isn't antiquated. The way the war is now with the big guns and the people killing each other and trying to outdo each other, you know, it seems like such an antiquated approach. I do think the drones can make a big difference, but even still, you're shooting at each other.
By the way,
Better than nuking
Bill
them.
and Cheryl are talking.
Yes, Cheryl, you're right.
It feels like kind of an extreme. I mean, it's all very interesting examples in this extreme of things. Like I was thinking about how what a different play on guerrilla warfare. I used to be hiding behind corners and taking out people that are in charge, and now it's hobbyists that are fighting for their lives in the same kind of style, but they're doing it with remote controls and planes that they can drop bombs from, grenades, as Bill said. Like, it's just a whole different take on guerrilla warfare in a technological world. And then from Cheryl's perspective, the things she's saying, it really, you flash on these ideas that we've got drone pilots sitting in storage containers in Nevada, driving these planes all over the world that can do these drone attacks, and they end of the day going home to their suburb with their wife and their kids. Every morning they get up and they patrol the skies, not in a plane, but in a box. That it's just fascinating how many of these things fall under this topic.
And I think
Apparently there's a high suicide rate with those pilots.
that's what I
sit in boxes. Was that what you were going to say, Cheryl?
Yeah, you know, the mental health issue with veterans, with warfare, with everything, you know, the post-trauma stress and everything. This is a whole different thing. It's every day. They're doing that, then they're going home, then they're doing that. Like, it's just, they don't have to travel and be there for months at the time and then come home and deal with it for months at a time. It's almost like every 24 hours, there must be so much mental distress. And
They didn't get called up to go to war. This is just their job.
That's right.
well, and their mental stress might be much better because they do go home to their family and sit around the pool and have a beer rather than for the next 4 months. You know, there is a...
Well, yeah, but I think much better is the question, right? Is that
Well,
much
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I have a comment kind of related. The Russians' May Day parade had one World War II tank in it, and compared to like hundreds of modern day tanks last year. One World War II tank that was made in Ukraine.
That's interesting.
Ukraine, sorry.
We would have to assume that most of their tanks are occupied at the moment.
Or in the scrap.
No, there's a lot of them in Ukraine rusting out right now.
Right, that's right.
Or they're being used by Ukraine. They
Yeah.
go home with the John Deeres and fix them up and send them back.
So we have 7 minutes of this meeting left, and I think that we probably will not be joining on the second meeting. We got things to do and places to go here as our
You
second.
guys are looking for the meet link because our meet is ending in 6 minutes now, it says. I did post it in the chat, and it's also on the document that we share. We'll just move over to that meeting. I'll open it now so that it's ready to go, so that we can finish off the tail end of this meeting. We do this each time because we use Google Meet for free, and it gets used up after an hour.
And we probably next Tuesday will be on the road in Alberta, probably not home yet, but making our way. So
Colder than now.
yeah. Although Thursday it was warmer in Edmonton than it was in Las Vegas. They switching as we speak. So by the time we get home, we have no idea what we'll be in. It could be a fire, it could be a snowfall. So we're home next week, and then we will see you guys in 2
We
weeks.
could be evacuated.
Well, next Tuesday, I will be trying to maintain the meeting while at a place of business. Again, in business.
I think that means our house, right?
No, not yet. I'm doing a week in Phoenix and then oh, I just noticed you're in the kitchen in Alaska. Welcome home.
Thank you. You hadn't noticed that, huh?
I was going to say, are you in Alaska or Arizona? But there you
You
go.
know, I had originally planned to put on like a Hawaiian moo or something and let you guess. Turns out the moo didn't fit, so you got me in Alaska for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what still fits when I get home too. So,
It almost fit.
okay.
Yes, and it's still there's snow. We got home May 1st and it snowed the 1st and the 2nd, but it didn't stick. It was wet snow, and there's still a lot of snow around. So we hit 50 yesterday, which the weather people were really excited about. That we got that hot.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I guess this is all going to be summer soon, I hope.
And also your days are long, right?
Yeah.
We were on our Ring doorbell last night, and it was dark here in Vegas and at home in Edmonton with the 1 hour time change and everything. But anyways, it was still bright out. We could have, been outside without any kind of lights or anything. And here in Vegas, it was dark. So we noticed
night falls.
difference. So to Alaska, I bet you're noticing the midnight sun coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to be home where there is sun. We had almost none in Arizona until the last week or so. All right.
Guys,
So we're sabotaging his tech-only topics again. But
With
anyways, we'll talk to you guys all in a couple weeks.
All right, have a good trip.
Take care.
we'll see you guys not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. If
Bye.
you guys will jump into the next meet, I think this one's ending in just moments.
Okay,
I've
guys.
got
Take care.
Jim. Are you out of here? Oh, I guess he's out of here. We might be cutting this short.
So, sorry for my tardiness. I just got here for the end, but we're not going on to the next meeting, I take it.
Well, we are. I'm in it. I'm ready for you guys to join it. I don't know how much longer we'll be going, but we definitely aren't done with this meeting. We're 15 minutes before we're finished. Do you need the link? Do you have it handy there?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'm going to the next one.
Yeah. I'm already in it. So you guys come on over to this meet, and we'll just keep moving forward. I don't want this camera on. There we go. There's Jim.
Hey,
Lost shot. Hi, Jim.
hello.
Oh, and Dad's. Okay. I have got the echo. Why do I have the echo?
There. Okay, well, I got here late and I missed a lot of the meeting, but it looked to be interesting topics, and perhaps I should just bow out. It's getting nicer here too, where I am. The sun is actually shining out in our yard, and the blossoms are out there, so we're
Lovely.
doing all right. And apparently there's some.
I think I got it sorted.
A high pressure ridge is coming up for us now. So, it's going to be going up into the 70s, which is pretty hot for us here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Canada in the 70s.
Yeah.
We just got as high as 50, so Alaska's way behind.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's about half again as much as the distance. It was almost exactly 3,500 kilometers from door to door for us.
Wow.
So that was the drive, and now it's probably at least half that much to get up to where you are. At least.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Although we're not that high. Anchorage, I'm trying to think if you go across we're not that high anyway.
No.
As you go further north, yes. What was I going to say?
Disciplined.
I had something important, really important. Hang on. No, I mean, you go ahead and talk. I'll bring it back.
Okay. Hey, while you guys, to make the weather topic a tech topic, were you guys part of that weather fiasco a few weeks ago where the Apple didn't have your weather information on your phone?
Sometimes it still doesn't.
Yeah,
I never noticed.
No, I didn't either.
I definitely noticed. I noticed just the moments it started.
This morning it said no weather. So.
Interesting. Yeah, it's not clear why this is a problem, or at least it wasn't at the time. The articles, or I would have really brought it up. But so have you guys heard of any resolution for why this has been an issue?
No, but if you keep refreshing, it'll eventually come.
Yeah. No, just interesting. I read some articles. I read something in Vox that was talking about how the weather apps in themselves have not changed in like 10 years. That there was this rush to making weather apps and using weather services, and then it just grew stagnant and didn't do anything. Apple decided to include their weather app, and they partnered with some weather and
skies.
And they became the standard for all the phones.
It was really a good app, the Dark Skies.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it went away, and Apple took over, and then it was horrible. So.
But I haven't heard anyone explain why we're having problems getting weather now. Mm-hmm. It sure makes you aware, though, of it's actually important, isn't it?
I have like 5 weather apps, so I don't rely on that one.
I think about what we consider important now, and it's like in our pocket, we have a flashlight, we have our contact list, we have our phone, we have a calculator, we have the weather app, we have the Find, right? So you can find yourself no matter where you are, you're never lost. The latest iPhones have the Find You, so you can send out an SOS. So no matter where you are, if no one can find you, people can find you if you can't find your way back.
If you have it turned on.
Yeah, well, you have to have a 14 or higher, too, for it to work. But still, it's amazing how we're interconnected like that now.
But there's still the ability, if you're in the mountains or...
Yeah, with the new iPhone 4, it talks to the satellites. And it's actually, I think it's their first stepping stones into satellite communication. I speculate that Apple is looking at a future where they are a telecom. And maybe telecoms don't look the same when they enter it, but this is just the first stepping stones to that kind of future where they're dialing in satellite communication specifically, but internet in general, because they've got all the communications apps. Now they've got access to satellites to send out this information. It's one-way messaging, but it could also end up being two-way in the future. And they could run VoIP calls through it, and pretty soon you just don't need an AT&T or a Sprint or.
So what happened while I was in the hospital?
Are we down? What has happened here?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
That's odd. You guys, can you still hear me out there? I see them on the screen.
Yeah.
I see them up there. No, it's on.
I've got you in a cluster of
right.
Oh, God. They went away.
Can't see you.
They went away.
Oh, it's like it decided not to duplicate the screen anymore.
I can't hear Chester.
It won't do it.
Oh, well.
But they're still here.
They don't hear us, or they'd be talking.
Do you guys hear us? Say something.
Hello. Yes.
Hi.
I hear you.
Oh, that's right, because the audio comes through the TV. Let me unplug the TV. Now say something.
Hi. How are you doing?
There we go. I'm going to turn this around. I don't know what's going on as far as HDMI. TJ, you're going to have to use binoculars to see them now. There you go. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but I can tell you this is a recycled computer, and it's the first time it's done that. And we've been using it all season. Yeah. Well,
Okay,
That was
I
a,
will see you in the fall until I see you online.
yeah, maybe we'll see each other next Tuesday at 10 online for our virtual
Probably
meeting.
not. I'll be getting an oil change in my car and click, so who knows.
As we meander out of this meeting, do you have any recommendations, which is something we typically do at the end of the meeting? We share things that we like to read, watch, movies, TVs, websites, apps. I've got one.
Night Agent.
Oh, Night Agent.
That's good. I'm almost done.
We started watching it, but it wasn't good enough.
It is if you keep watching.
Okay. Because we watched the first one, so yeah, we get the premise and all that, but
Well, it's somewhat better as you go along.
yeah, it felt like just another one.
Yeah.
That's as we were watching it. But I'll put it on the list, and if you say you got to watch it more, maybe I'll watch a couple more episodes.
Just watch it. And I'm still watching Anne with an E, which.
Anne with an E?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
I love that. Yes,
Anne with an E.
And with an E.
Your recommendation before I walk out the door.
Actually, this applies to you.
Oh, okay, I won't walk out yet.
Anne with an E's house is a historical
No,
site.
Anne with an E is the title of the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
This turned into a recommendation. I was not familiar with this software or this company until recently. I've got a customer that I'm helping them with right now, but it's very intriguing, specifically for your circumstance. There's a company out there called Speedify. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it's a service similar to a VPN service. However, what their goal is combining all the internet connections you have available. And so you can take your cell hotspot, your fiber optic connection, and your Starlink and stick them through one computer and accumulate that bandwidth together. So traditionally what I've recommended for people around here, if they're in a situation where they have some iffy internet, they like myself, I have 2 different internet providers, is to use a load balancing router. And so you'd have both internet providers coming into one device, and then you would have your network, like your Wi-Fi network, on the other side of that device. The load balancing router would choose connections for you. But the way a load balancing router works is that if you've got 10 megabits a second coming in from this internet provider and 10 megabits a second coming in from this internet provider, you can only get 10 megabits a second. If you sit down at your TV to watch 4K, or you've got your kids in the back doing their TikTok videos and playing video games at the same time, any one of you can possibly have at any one time is 10 megabits a second. You can never have 20. There's no way to couple those two together in a load balancing router. What the router's doing is it's picking the appropriate path with the bandwidth available for your task. And so some of you are using this internet provider and some of you are using this internet provider. And that's what gives more, for lack of a better way to phrase it, more 10 megabits a second to the people in your house available. So what Speedify does, because it's a VPN, it controls the endpoint. It obviously controls their endpoint, but they're controlling your endpoint with the software they put on your computer. And so they're a VPN that sees 3 endpoints on your end and keeps track of it. And it, for all practical purposes, adds all those bandwidths together. So you can, those 2 my example would be 20 megabits a second available to your whole network. Now, again, still, when you're doing this kind of math, if my kid's using 5 megabits a second in the back, and I want to use 7, and we've got 2 of 10 on a row, there isn't enough. They would have to put my kid over here at 7 and me over here at 5, because we couldn't be on the same connection, because there wouldn't be enough there. If I had another kid over here doing 7, I had 7 and 7 here, I could never get 5. I couldn't take the 3 here and the 3 here and expect it to be 6. I would have to take 3 over here or 3 over here. I couldn't couple the 2. And what Speedify does is it practically allows you to take advantage of what's left over from all your connections. You aren't topping out. And so what it's doing is It's in real time. Every packet that's transmitted has the ability to either go through or come back through one of the 3 connections.
So is it actually holding the unused part until you use it?
No, it's available to you, just like your internet's available to you through one connection. All 3 of those are available to you at any moment.
And what does that cost?
You know, that I don't know.
Money.
That I don't know. I'm sorry. You know, and if you looked at our document, I didn't write it down. I wasn't planning on talking about it. It just popped into my mind because I've been working on it recently. But I can't imagine that it's outrageously expensive. I would imagine that its pricing is very similar to VPN pricing.
Like 100.
Yeah, something in that. In fact, I'm trying to get it up on screen right now so that I can see what the pricing is. I was just tremendously impressed because the concept is very straightforward. I understand exactly where they're coming from, but I hadn't come across a company that was doing it. And here we are. There's a company that's actually doing this. Now, they have to guarantee you a certain bandwidth through your VPN. Yeah, 3-year pass, $150.
Wow.
So the way this is playing out, and I'm not saying you want to do this right now. You might want to play with this. You know, like you have 2 connections in your house. You'd run an Ethernet cable to one of your modems, and you'd Wi-Fi into the other. I'm just telling you, this is how it would work. And they've got a Macintosh client that you run, and you can see both your connections there, and you can see how much bandwidth is coming down each one of them, and you can see they've got a test, and they can show you the total amount of bandwidth you can take advantage of between your 2 connections.
So but this is not a VPN.
It is a VPN. In fact, it intrinsically has to be a VPN. There is no way for them to control the other end, your client side, your 3 connections, unless it's intimately connected to that other end. They need to know where these packets are coming and going so that they can use all 3 of those endpoints to give you the bandwidth. So this is very intriguing. The way that it's executed right now, and with this one customer, and it was set up for him, he's just having me do some consulting on it, is a single purpose computer that's acting as a router. That computer in this case is an Ubuntu computer, but it could be a Windows computer or a Macintosh computer. It's running a graphic interface to this, they call it bonding. Even the terminology is new to me. I haven't experienced this before. They call bonding these connections together. And the software is very straightforward to use. And when you look at it, the stats, everything that you're seeing, it's like a phone app. There's nothing really complicated about it. And the idea is that you have more than one network connection to this single purpose computer. So in this case, it's got 4 Ethernet cards in it. And one is for each connection that's coming in. One is for Starlink, one is for Telcel, one is for Telmex. And then the 4th one is to your Wi-Fi network. And so everything's running through this single purpose computer, bonding these 3 internet connections together. I've got a feeling we're going to talk more about this in club as we go forward.
So you've got somebody using this now.
Yeah. They called me about it because they were having some network cable issues. And so I got schooled on all this stuff that I had not been paying any attention to. So I suspect that we're going to see more of this. He actually comes from, I don't want to dox him, but he comes from Chapala, and apparently there's a couple of guys using the same software and setup there because they have like 3 cruddy internet providers. So this is how they're able to take advantage of it. Yeah. No, it's pretty exciting, especially when you think that you can buy a Raspberry Pi now for under $100. It would be appropriate to run it as a router, so you can load it up with a free operating system like Ubuntu. And what you would do is you would just have USB Ethernet adapters plugged into it, and you just combine all, and that would, so I can envision very cheap products that support this system. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future Speedify actually has a store where you could buy a box from them.
Okey-dokey.
Cool stuff.
See you in the fall and see you on
Sounds like you do consulting.
See you, Judy.
Minor.
Yes, yeah,
Here locally.
that's our business. I can give you a business card.
You know,
if
we're
yours.
only going to be here till the 20th, but we're having trouble. We have an extender in the bedroom because, you know, we can't get throughout the house.
Okay.
And now we can't connect to the main router, but yet the main router has to be working in order for the
Extender to work, of
extender to
course,
work.
yeah.
We can't, so therefore I can't take my laptop anywhere but the bedroom. And we're not tech savvy.
And that's where the main router is it's in the bedroom?
Well, it's in the guest bedroom. The main router's in the guest bedroom.
Okay.
We've, taken the extender out, tried to connect to the main router, and it won't connect at all
Okay.
on phone or on our computers. And we don't know what's happened.
Well, I could definitely help you sort that
We'd
out.
like to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're just in the Caracal, so we're not too far away.
Oh, hey, TJ, where are you? At Caracal as well. Okay. Because TJ and I are here to organize an appointment for tomorrow morning, right? Why don't I organize an appointment with you for that afternoon, and I'll just go from his place over to your place there in the Caracal. That's right.
That would be great, because we are getting ready to leave, but we'd like to figure out what, and we just are afraid to start playing with it because we don't know what we're doing.
Sure.
Other than trying to connect it, as I said. So
Let me shut down this meeting. Hey, we're off. This is Scott Stimson with International Computer Solutions, yada, yada, yada. If you like San Carlos Computer Club, check out sccclub.org. And if you're looking for computer help anywhere on the internet, try getting a hold of me, Scott at internationalcs.net. Until next Tuesday, everybody, tech on.
Bye-bye.
This off.